Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Today the content that I will going to discuss with you, it is from the course titled Curriculum Design and Instruction. The course code is EDUC 2118. The purpose of this discussion is to review what you already have done in the last 2 weeks. So we will going to recap all the concepts again and try to understand once we will going to put them in a single picture how they look like, what will going to be their collective purpose, what does it mean by that. In this discussion we will going to interrelate the definition of curriculum, the elements of curriculum, the process of curriculum development, and the foundation of curriculum, that is psychological and philosophical, and how do we assess the curriculum and why we need to assess the curriculum. We will going to study them all together and try to make a single sense out of them. Then once if we put them all these things together, how they will going to look like, what picture they will going to make it up. So curriculum have all of this component and we need to study them individually as well as we need to understand them collectively, that what they look like. So let's begin. So for today's discussion, I have a learning objectives for you. The first one is the overview of the definition. We want to know, why do we have multiple definition? Why don't we have a single formula definition for the curriculum? So we will going to find out the answer for it. The second learning objective is, does different definition of each element, that was objectives, content, material, and then evaluation, would they going to define different kind of curriculum design? We will going to see it. Then the last learning objective is, what does it means by the various forms of curriculum? So let's begin with the first learning objective, and that is the definition of curriculum. Before moving into the multiple definition of curriculum, so we need to know that curriculum definitely have any conclusive single definition. It have multiple definition. But why do we need even define the term curriculum? So once you have gone through multiple definition in your previous lectures and multimedia slides, you will find out that in all slides, everywhere they're saying that curriculum is a concept. So we have to define curriculum. Why? Because concept is different than the formula. Formula have a very strict structure. We don't change it easily. For example, take a formula of water, that is H2O. So every time if I ask you that what is the formula for water, you always have a one formula in front of you. But once I'm going to talk to you what is curriculum, people have different ideas about it. Why? Because it is a concept. So what's a concept is? Concepts are defined as abstract ideas and their general notions that occur in our mind, in speech, and in our thought. And definitely different subject areas, especially social sciences subjects like psychology, philosophy, linguistics, and definitely education have lots and lots of abstract ideas. And we have different notions about them in our mind. Not single notion, but multiple notions. So these all are concepts, and curriculum is one of so many concepts in education. And that is the focus of this course. So curriculum is a concept. It means it can have multiple definition. It means it may be different. So if you want to understand the structure of any curriculum, we need to understand first of all what is its definition. How do we define it? What do you mean by that, the structure of curriculum? It means that with the definition of curriculum, I can imagine that how that curriculum will be going to look like. Maybe how many chapter it has, who will going to read it out, and what are the probable goals and objectives. So this is the structure of the curriculum. So with the help of a definition, I can make a guess about it, maybe a smart guess. So that's the reason we have to define every time each document, that is this document is a curriculum, then what is its definition. So moving ahead, in here It is a very, very simple example for you to understand the concept. Okay, so let's take chair. Chair, and you all know about it. It is a concept. Maybe you don't know about it, but let's learn it today. So, how chair is a concept, and how different definitions of chair make it different from each other. So, you can see two types of chairs. So, on the right, there is a chair, and the name of this chair is wing chair. How do we give this name to it? Okay, we need to look at the definition of the wing chair. So the definition of the wing chair says a wing chair is actually massive structure, heavy structure of wood that is all upholstered with beautiful fabric and foam, and to give it a more heavy look, it has a specific back that is actually large and wide, and the end of the back is actually have kind of wings. It is elongated and larger, so it give a luxurious and big and large and comfortable look. It also have arms, and these big arms people can sit over it. It is an indoor chair. You are not supposed to take it to the outdoor, so it take a huge space. So with this definition you can even imagine that how this chair would be look like, what would be the structure of the chair if you are not even looking at the picture of the chair. So on the left there is another chair. It is a chair, but it's not it like the wing chair, and it is known as deck chair. Okay, let me define it what it is. The deck chair is actually made up of a very light structure, and the structure should be like a skeleton that give it a less mass, and people can fold it and take it in their hand and drag it to their park or maybe on the beach and put it in a car. So the loose and light structure of the deck chair actually is uh, facilitated by just a piece of thick fabric, and that's all. So they both are chair, but they both have different definition. And with the help of a definition, even if you are not looking at the picture, you can sketch that how the structure of the chair will be look like. So that's the reason we need to give a definition to different curriculum, so that we can see that how that can this curriculum will going to be look like. Okay, here we go. That's an overview of the definitions. Why do we have multiple definitions? So you come to know about it. Why do we have multiple definition? Because curriculum is a concept, and it is growing, it is developing, it is changing, so we have multiple definitions. So give it a look to some of the definition. Already you have gone through multiple definition in your lecture 1, but for just a review and recap, read it out some more. So, Pratt 1980, what he said? He said that curriculum is a written document that systematically describes goals, planned objectives, content, learning activities, evaluation procedure, and so forth. So it is a very standard definition. Every curriculum document definitely have goals, they have objectives. They told us that this is a content, these are the topics that you need to teach in grade 1, and then in grade 2, and then in grade 4, and then in grade 5. It definitely guide the teacher that what kind of learning activities they can develop for the children or the student, and sometime or most of the time it also narrate its own evaluation procedure and so many other things. So every curriculum document have at least these things. So it's a kind of very standard definition. Come to the second one. So Daniel and Laurel, what they are saying about, they are talking about very, very interesting stuff, and that is not generally common in most of the definition, and that make it different. And what it is, the reconstruction of knowledge and experience that enables the learner to grow in exercising intelligent control of subsequent knowledge and experiences. So Daniel and Laurel think about that curriculum document is actually a one that actually talk about that knowledge and experiences actually are reconstructionable. So if somebody have it, they can reconstruct it again and again. And with the reconstruction of that knowledge and experiences, what a student learn, they become able to actually learn or to grow in exercising intelligent control of subsequent knowledge and experience. So confusing, so interesting, but move on to another one. That is about D.F. Brown. So D.F. Brown is also talking about a very interesting definition that is so much different from the previous two one. All student school experiences related to the improvement of skills and strategies in thinking critically, creatively, solving problems, working collaboratively with others, communicating well, writing effectively, reading more analytically, and conducting research to solve problems. So, these all are the stuff that should be in a curriculum document. So, according to Brown, curriculum document is such a large, huge, deep, and wide document that actually encompasses all the learning and social, emotional, and communicational experiences of the students. So, even if the experience is just a minor one or a major one, it should be included in the curriculum. If the content is a simple or a complex, it should be included in the curriculum. If the skill is simple or very sophisticated, it's actually a part of a curriculum. So it is such a broad definition and it is so much different from the reconstruction of knowledge and experience and just narrowly a systematically described document that have goals, objectives, and activities. Okay, so another question is why curriculum document is different and how can we say that difference is because of what? So there are so many reasons that curriculum definition can be different. One of the reason is definitely is the philosophy. So you already been gone through multiple philosophy in the course of foundation of education. So I have taken here just three philosophies in front of you and they will help you to understand that how does curriculum become different just because of the philosophical foundation. So here we have three philosophies for you. The one is realism, the other one is pragmatism, and the third one is postmodern. And in the realism, these two, perennialism and essentialism, actually are its theories. So let's begin with the realism, that how realism look at curriculum and how realism define curriculum. According to realism, the curriculum document emphasizes the subject matter of the physical world, particularly science and mathematics. Why? Because realism is about empirical evidences, and that is the foundation of all the sciences. The curriculum focuses on the fundamental subjects, that is literature, grammar, language, reading, writing, speaking skill, mathematical knowledge and skill, and knowing all the concepts of science that is necessary to be a scientist or moving on into a practical life, and also go through the narration of the history or maybe some foreign language. So largely, the curriculum of realism actually look like a document that is divided into a chunk of knowledge, and it is actually for independent each specific subject. In the each curriculum document, what generally it has tell the teacher that what content you are supposed to teach in how much time in what strategy. Okay, so how pragmatism curriculum looks different than the realism. So, curriculum is defined as the total learning experience of the individual. What do you mean by the total? The total mean it shouldn't be just the cognitive stuff. It should include the social, emotional, psychomotor, and affective domain as well. So, it is like a total experience, the total human development. So there are some principles on which pragmatism curriculum is basically focused on. So the one principle is that curriculum document narrate the teaching learning process should be activity based. And in the activity, children should experience the stuff, do it, and learn it, and their individual experience will teach them what they learn. So the second principle is the principle of utility. The curriculum document must have those content and those areas that have some utility in the future in their actual practical life. The third one is a principle child centered. It means that curriculum should be child centered. It should be according to the age of the child and it has all the activities a child should do it by themselves. Then the principles of integration and the principles of flexibility. The curriculum shouldn't be fixed. It should be fluid. It should be changed with the time. It should be changed with the needs of the society. As society is changing, curriculum should be changed. The purpose of the curriculum is to find out the solution to the current problems of the society. So, pragmatic definition is larger and it's more deeper and it's pretty different than the realism one, right? Come to the last one, and it is more confusing and it is very boundaryless. So, it's a postmodernism. Postmodernism have so many theories. Well, what's the definition? According to postmodernism, curriculum is a social, political, and cultural phenomena. The phenomenon is the experience. Wow. Using the concept of self structures, ecological balance, punctuated evolution, and etc. The postmodernist shift in focus from the discrete to the relational and from a stable closed system to open interactive system. So what does it mean by how postmodern is looking at the curriculum definition? According to the postmodern, curriculum is actually so much interrelated. It has open boundaries. It is not only just fixed to some specific school related cognitive skills and behavior. It is actually interrelate with all the social stuff and the political stuff going on, and definitely it is interrelated with the culture. So postmodern is actually have a very boundaryless, broad, and interesting definition that isn't the same like pragmatism or realism. So let's move on and see how they were going to look like in the other coming slides. Okay, so the next thing what you have gone through in the last 2 weeks were the elements of curriculum after the definition. So in the elements you've gone through goals and objectives, content, method, and evaluation. So these were the four elements that you studied last week. So let's see how these elements have different definition in different philosophies. Let's begin. Aims and objectives. How realism think about it. Aims and objectives of education. It says developing awareness about surrounding real world, that's a physical world, and providing sensory training. It's about the empirical studies, developing an attitude of experimentation and ability to understand empirical fact. What are the empirical fact? That either you can see, touch, taste, hear, or smell. So in this way, we can need to do experiments and find out empirical data and then preparing for an occupation. We are actually the purpose of the education is to prepare for a job. Very simple, very straight aims and objectives of education, right? Now, pragmatism, a more twisted one, not so simple, developmental of an adaptive and creative mind. Development of an ability to restructure experiences through reflective attitudes. What does it mean by? It means by that we can restructure our own experiences or maybe the experiences of someone else if we reflect on it and if we think about it and if we contemplate about it. So, from reflecting in the future, we may change the same experiences and make it a better one. Very, very interesting one. Realization of democratic values. It is a part and parcel of pragmatism. Then creating sensitivity towards social issues and develop vocational skills for the job and for the future to earn money with good habits, flexibility to adjust, and morality to be honest. So it is not only focusing on the subject specific knowledge, but it is focusing on a broader social political role of human beings that they have to take it after they completed their graduation and education. So it has a broader, bigger social political purpose than the realism one. Postmodern. Postmodern, the purpose of education for them and the aims and objective of teaching and learning is to develop critical thinking, production of knowledge, development of individual and social identity, and self creation. So, none of the concept what postmodern is giving us is a simple one. It is so broad, it is so subjective, and it is so philosophically different. So, you can see that the elements of curriculum they have different meaning in different philosophy. They are not same, very much like their definitions. So this is your second element, the content. What you will going to teach? What will be the topics? Okay, what realism is talking about? Literature and writing, mathematics, science, history, and foreign language. So definitely, it is so much like our own schools where we study different subjects, and we have different textbooks for it. We have different teachers for it, and in each subject we have an array of topics from simple to difficult, from easy to difficult, from simple to complex, from very basic to very sophisticated one. Then pragmatism, how it looks like, how it looks at the content. It is saying that real life problem, contextually situated examples. Knowledge is gained by experiences and experiments conducted by the learner himself. The process of reconstruction of experience goes on and leads to adjustment. Definitely, if children will going to do the experiment by themselves through activities, they definitely will going to learn from their individual experiences, and they will going to maybe reconstruct the experiences and knowledge and have a more flexibility to get adjusted in the ever changing world. So that's how the content should be more experiment focused, and it should be contextually situated. What does it mean by that? Whatever the problem teacher will going to take in the classroom, they should be socially and culturally and contextually relevant to that area. Okay, now come to the postmodern. Postmodern, the kind of content what they have, they must have social issues where they will going to address the issues of equity and equality, and definitely globalization, global citizenship, sustainable development, and human rights, and feminism, and child rights, and gender, and lots of other things. So, in a postmodern content, we need to have all of these things for the student to discuss, to debate, and to realize. So, just give it a look that just content in the realism, pragmatism, and postmodern is different from each other. Definitely, it will lead to a different definition of curriculum as well. The other one is method. Okay, so what is method? Method is actually the curriculum experiences. How teacher will going to teach those topics to the students. Which method she will going to require. Which is the most favorable, most appropriate and right method for each of the philosophy. Let's go and check it out. Let's see with the realism. So realism is actually talking about lecture, experiments, demonstration. And these are one of the most oldest and highly used methods by the teacher, and you all know about it. Well, still we need to go and check it out. The method of teaching is objective. In the process of presenting fact, the teacher is not expected to express his subjective opinion on the matter. Why? Because realism is about science and mathematics. It is about objectivity. It is about empirical data. And it is about facts and figures and numbers. So teacher is not supposed to give their opinion on it, but they are supposed to put the information, facts, scientific fact in front of the students. So it's a very objective method. So proposed method of pragmatism, how does it look like? Project method, which asks a student to do some research and prepare a project. Learning by doing method, that's mean activities and project. Correlation method, playway method, use of dynamic method of teaching, and experimentation and activities. So in all of this method, the role of teacher is to provide a support, is to provide a guideline, but not to teach. The huge part of the classroom activities actually done planned by students. So they do their project, they plan their project, and they completed it and then share it with the other people. So it's a very student centered, child centered, independent learning process. Then the last one is postmodern. So, what postmodern think about it? How teachers should act in a class with such sensitive topics and content that are related to equity, equality, globalization, sustainable development, human right, or gender. Okay, so provide opportunities to discuss about different subjects. So the most proposed method for postmodern teacher is discussion. In this situation, students learn to listen other voices, tolerate other criticism, and think in a more critical way. So that is a purpose, and that is required to develop critical thinking. What it required discussion, it required dialogues, and it required conflict, and then negotiation and critical thinking to come to a more rational point. So, how not only the objectives, not only the content is different in each philosophy, but even teachers are acting differently and they have different roles and responsibilities towards it. The last element that you have gone through was evaluation of a curriculum document. So each of the philosophy provide different ways and method of evaluating the curriculum document. So let's give it a look. How do they do that? In realism, guided by facts information coming from the scientific research finding. So what they do, they go and first of all develop their objective, that why they want to evaluate, what is their objective, what they want to know. And once they realize their objective, they go for a data collection. They collect data in a form of questionnaire, opinionaire, and make observations and read out the documents. And afterward, they analyze everything through a proper analytical method, quantitative or qualitative. Then they reach on the findings and share these findings with the other members of the committee or academia. This is all known as the scientific research process. So that's a way realists actually evaluate their curriculum and implementation and know that how far each goal been achieved or not. How do pragmatic evaluate their curriculum? So actually their curriculum is guided by the facts and information coming from the scientific research findings and democratic and social indicators. So they are not only relying on the research data, facts and figure and information, and they make their instrument, collect data, analyze it. Afterward, they narrate their findings and share it with the other people. But they also look it up for the democratic and social indicators. They look at how people behavior is more democratic or non-democratic. And what are the social indicator? What these curriculum are in fact inculcating skills and attitude in the students that may be helpful for the future social value system. So the last one is a postmodern one. In postmodern one, how do they evaluate their curriculum? Their curriculum evaluation is actually guided by social and global geopolitical changes and its effect on our collective future. So, definitely, postmodernism is talking about globalization. It is talking about that we all are living in a global world and we are affecting from each other actions, good or bad. And we are actually looking for a sustainable world where we will going to live together. Word is a one important resource that we all share regardless of who we are, what is our identity or what is our belief system. So they are talking about collective social system and they are talking about social and global geopolitical changes. So once they look at their curriculum, they need to find it out that is their curriculum have all the components that should in fact address globalization and the sustainable world and the human rights that are actually everywhere supposed to be the same. So they are looking at their curriculum that it should be more diverse, It should include everybody, regardless of their caste, regardless of their color, regardless of their belief system. It should be more collective and it should be more humanistic. So, in this way, they review their curriculum document and evaluate it annually or maybe after a few years. So, afterward, what you studied? Different forms of curriculum. Definitely, you studied multiple forms of curriculum, and here are a few. So, it's I think easy to understand for you that we have different definition. Different definition leads to different type of curriculum. We don't have a single standard curriculum for all the world, like we have a single standard formula of water for everybody. So we have multiple kind of curriculum. But what different forms you already been studying? You need to remember one thing: they all are interrelated. I'm not going to define you again that what they were. So you already been know about it. So the relationship of types of curricula. Look at them. You already been done about the written curriculum, supported curriculum, taught curriculum, or tested curriculum. So what they do? They actually convert into a curriculum that students are supposed to learn and teachers are supposed to teach them or help them to learn it, and is also actually built up with the recommended changes going on in the curriculum. That is a part and parcel of curriculum. Every time curriculum revised because of so many global issues, because of so many development, because of so many different social issues. Let's take an example. Now we are going through a very important global and social issue, and that is COVID 19. It's such a pandemic and disease, and everybody is affecting by it on the individual level, on the social level, on the financial level, and all countries are affecting by it. So, do you think that it should be a part of our curriculum? Maybe some topic that should be related with the pandemic or epidemic in the sciences, in the diseases, in the biology, or maybe in the literature. If we realize it is good to let children know about it and develop multiple skills and knowledge about these kind of diseases and how to cope up with diseases, how to change their lifestyle, how to wash their hands, or how to maintain a social distance, reasonable social distance. So, do you think these values are changing what we already had? So, do you think it should be a part of our curriculum? That's how curriculum is continuously changing because of not one but so many important local and global reasons. So, the hidden curriculum. So, all the curriculum are actually interrelated. They are moving all towards the learned curriculum. The learned one that teacher will going to let the children learn about it. Okay. So, what does it mean by the various form of curriculum? That overt, explicit, written, societal, hidden, null, and so on. So, you already see that what does it mean by they all are interrelated. So, every curriculum is actually overt. Every curriculum has some part that is explicit and written. Every curriculum have societal elements. Every curriculum have some hidden agenda. Every curriculum have some null part just because teachers don't know how to teach them, and it remains over there. And there are so many things. So every curriculum have all the forms in a way or another. That is a core that I want to let you know. Now, the other and the last important question for you. The important last question is, if we have multiple forms of curriculum, if we have multiple types of curriculum, let's take an example of Pakistan. In Pakistan, schools we are teaching multiple type of curriculum. For example, in public sector schools we have a national curriculum, but in different private sector school we also are teaching different type of curriculum. For example, take example of madrasas. They are not teaching our national curriculum, they are teaching their own curriculum. Even different madrasa are teaching different curriculum. Let's take an example of elite class grammar schools. They are not teaching national curriculum, they are not teaching madrasa curriculum, but they are teaching maybe an Oxford developed curriculum or Cambridge developed curriculum, or maybe some other country developed curriculum, like maybe from the Australian university. It is a curriculum proposed for school children from grade 1 to 12. or maybe IB curriculum, that is International Baccalaureate curriculum. Let's take another private school. The private school, actually, they are working, those who are working under the umbrella of Aga Khan University. Aga Khan University proposes its own curriculum, and that is also not the national curriculum and not the other curriculum. So, like in Pakistan, we have multiple types of curriculum schools are teaching. They are different from each other. So, what's the big deal? For example, just take an example over here. If a student is studying in Beacon House, the other was studying in madrasa, the other one is studying in a government school, the other was studying in an NGO school, and maybe another student is studying in a very uh, middle class private school. They all study their school from grade 1 till grade 12, and they appeared in their respective exams. That were their cut point exams. Like say matriculation, like say Aga Khan University cut point exams, let's say IB baccalaureate exam, O and A level exams, or whatever. So they all have done their schooling. They all read it out so many stuff. They learn so many stuff, and they develop language skills: reading, writing, speaking, listening, comprehension, mathematics. They know about their own country, religion, multiple countries, and lots of other content. So what's the difference if they are going through or learning from different curriculum? Now, this is important question. Do they all look like same after 12 years of teaching learning process in the school? Do they all develop same kind of skills? Do they all develop same kind of, let's say, knowledge level? So, do they all have same kind of value system? That's a very, very important question. So, what curriculum does? It actually transforms the whole personality of a child according to its own philosophy, according to its own major foundational value system. And definitely, it also changes and differentiates and make it different in the student capabilities, their knowledge level, their problem solving ways and methods. So you have a collage of different school pictures over here, and you can see different facilities provided by different schools. How could you say that these all students will going to end up having same capabilities? Definitely they will not be. I want to share with you an example. Just look at them, just listen them, and see that how schooling develop critical thinking about very important concept, that is who you are, boy or a girl. Let's go and check it out.
To be a boy. What does it mean to be a boy? Your opinion.
To be strong, to not cry.
To be tough, athletic.
To be confident and to always keep your head up and be optimistic. It doesn't just mean like you're born a boy, you are a boy. You can switch genders and go to a girl if you're a boy.
Being a boy is a lot harder than some people may think.
Boys are told to like play sports and be tough. So that's what a lot of people think it means, but I just think it means that you look different than girls do.
You may have different hair or different body parts.
I don't really know what it means to be a boy besides physical attributes. That's pretty much it.
You don't think there's anything else?
Like hormones.
Girls have different things on their bodies and have the advantage of different things, like being pregnant.
Besides anatomy, what's the number one thing that makes boys and girls different?
I just think that the way that people think they're supposed to be.
Whatever like the stereotype is, you watch sports, you're rough and aggressive and whatever. Girls, they play with dollies, and boys, they play rough. A lot of my friends that are girls don't even like dolls. In fact, they're scared of them, and they'd rather like play in the dirt.
Most boys think girls are all about makeup, dresses, and like
like sleepover parties and stuff.
Some people think girls are just baby making machines that stay at home and are just housewives. Like I've seen pictures on the internet of cleaning kits for girls that aren't sold for boys, like a pink mop that girls can push around. I don't like it.
Boys have like superheroes like outfits and Legos, and then the girls are all Barbie or baby dolls and princesses.
Society like planted that image in their brain, like you're supposed to do this and you are supposed to do this.
I don't really think it matters, like, if you consider, like, girl stuff and boy stuff, because everyone does their own things, and it doesn't really matter.
We're all human, so I just feel like there's no point in saying you're a girl, you're a boy. That's it.
So, girls and boys, you watched that video? I'm sure that you enjoyed it a lot. So, how schooling just makes a difference in opinion that who you are and what is the meaning of a girl and a boy. So, do you watch their ages? That how old they were and how critically they were thinking about and how much socially aware they are. And they are not only social aware that what is going on with the notion of girls and boys, they are socially aware about the notion and the rights of gender as well. So, what do you think about it? What kind of curriculum they were going through? They were going through a realism curriculum, a curriculum that is actually guided by the pragmatic theories, or do you think that they are studying or they are the student of postmodern curriculum? Very interesting one, right? So we will going to end up our session here. In the next session, I will going to show you our national curriculum. And it's become very interesting for you and easy for you to understand that what is our curriculum? What is our curriculum philosophical foundation? Thank you so much. I will going to see you again.